This is NET, National Educational Television.
This is PBS, the Public Broadcasting Service.
This is PBS. PBS.
Hello and welcome to the fourth season of This is Public Broadcasting. I'm your host, Captain Rutlidge. And to roll out this new season, I think it's time to look at a more recent PBS Kids series. So, let's see what's on the programming roster. No, don't think so. Did it. Already overdone. Maybe another time. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Xavier Riddle and the Secret Museum.
Ready for adventure?
Based off of Brad Meltzer's book series Ordinary People Change the World, and created by Todd Grimes, Xavier Riddle and the Secret Museum shows the adventures of three children, Xavier, Yadina, and Brad, as they visit the eponymous Secret Museum to find answers to problems they're facing in their daily life. The series premiered on PBS Kids in November of 2019 and currently has a roster of over 19 episodes, including a made-for-TV movie.
Before we get into the show, I think we should first discuss the minds behind the series. Chris Eliopoulos served as illustrator for the Ordinary People series, and his portfolio also includes the likes of Marvel Comics and Dark Horse Comics. His character styles seem to be heavily drawn from Bill Watterson and Charles Schultz, and they're pretty nice to look at. Brad Meltzer, meanwhile, is a true virtuoso of an author. He's written political thrillers, gripping works of nonfiction, he's hosted 2 TV shows on History Channel, and yet he has found time to write the Ordinary People series for his kids. It's almost as if he's a real superhero. Wait. I guess, take that, Hitchcock.
Hello and welcome to the show.
The show's main characters include Xavier, a fact-filled 7-year-old who enjoys fun and games, Yadina, his ambitious younger sister who one day wants to be President of the United States, and their friend Brad, a shy, nervous boy with amazing art skills and storytelling abilities. Whenever there is a problem in their lives they need to solve, they look for answers in the Secret Museum, a dimension located inside the local museum run by a robotic orb named Burby, who has the ability to transport the trio through time to meet famous folks throughout history. Oh, and I can't forget Dr. Zoom, Yadina's turtle, who is also a superhero, doctor, and world-famous explorer, despite only being a stuffed toy.
We all had toys like that growing up.
The series' art style is, again, designed by Chris Eliopoulos, who gives the characters a look similar to Calvin and Hobbes or the Peanuts characters. It's pleasant to look at and works very well with the animation style. All of the historical figures in the series are depicted in this same style, from Charles Dickens to Mary Shelley and George Washington to Julia Child. However, it can make things confusing to the viewer, where, even though the years pass, the historical characters never mature out of their youthful designs.
There's no denying that Brad and Chris are really talented guys, but the episodes of Xavier Riddle tend to be somewhat of a mixed bag at times. Some of the episodes play fairly well into real history. Others, meanwhile, really don't play too much on what actually happened. So let's take a look at a few episodes as an example, starting with the Helen Keller and Alexander Graham Bell episodes.
For those who don't know, Helen Keller became deaf and blind when only an infant, and was taught to read and communicate with the help of her teacher, Anne Sullivan, and became the first deaf-blind woman to receive a Bachelor of Arts degree, and also served as an advocate to people with disabilities. In Xavier Riddle, the episode starts with Yadina struggling with her reading, followed by a trip to the Secret Museum where the three meet Helen Keller. They witness Anne Sullivan's methods for teaching Anne, which do bear a close resemblance to Helen's real-life story. Of course, the real Anne Sullivan was partially blind, but that's not too big of an issue here.
Covering someone's mouth when she's talking? Not very polite.
Well, Helen is working with a special teacher who can help her feel what words sound like.
Bell.
The takeaway? There are many different ways to learn, and no single method works for everybody.
Alexander Graham Bell is best remembered for inventing the telephone, but he was wholeheartedly dedicated to teaching the deaf to speak. His episode starts with Brad losing his voice and Xavier and Udina failing to understand him. The Secret Museum takes them to meet Alexander Graham Bell, where we see Bell communicating with his mother, who was deaf in real life. Later on, they see him teaching his deaf students to speak, among whom is Helen Keller, who was a real-life student of Bell's.
George lost his hearing before he could learn to say very many words, like orange, apple, or banana. Apple!
Bell's episode shows the importance of listening to others, and there are several different ways to communicate. It plays into Helen Keller's episode and shows how even though a person may not have the abilities of others, that person can still live as others do, just in a different way. Also, is it just me, or does that police box seem eerily familiar?
So, those two, in my opinion, are two of the series' best episodes. However, there are a few episodes that don't work all too well.
That's not to say that these were terrible episodes, but rather the storyline didn't fit too well compared to actual history.
In some cases, these departures are perfectly understandable. After all, when you look at the real-life stories of Cleopatra and Catherine the Great, it makes perfect sense why a few aspects were left out. And as for Zora Neale Hurston's novel Their Eyes Were Watching God, the less it's known to young children, the better. Then there were episodes that left out quite a bit from the historical characters' real-life stories. For example, the Charles Dickens episode has the trio meeting Dickens in the English countryside. They left out the bit about Dickens' father being thrown in debtor's jail and Charles having to work in a blacking factory, facing rough conditions, but eventually rising out of the situation all the stronger, even incorporating people he knew from the blacking factory into his books.
Legal bosses up the crop in the old curiosity shop, faking in Oliver Twist, a factory pal, you get the gist. And although my memory's quite foggy, got Scrooge from the grave of Ebenezer Scrooge.
Then there's the George Washington Carver episode. The trio meet Carver at his secret garden, which apparently he had in real life. What's left out, though, is how Carver had to walk 10 miles to attend a colored school, but was taken in by a kind woman who nurtured his love for learning. Yes, he knew how to care for plants, but most importantly, he taught farmers to care for their soils through crop rotations, switching out cotton with sweet potatoes and peanuts each year to replenish soil nutrients. This not only helped the soil, but also provided better, more wholesome food for these farmers. Even though he was black, he was widely respected in the white community, with some going so far as calling him Black Leonardo.
Simple fact, history was seldom a bowl of cherries. There have been some dark and unsavory moments that have occurred. In a few episodes, Xavier Riddle did attempt to bring up a few of these moments. For example, the Susan B. Anthony episode shows the women's suffrage movement. The Jackie Robinson episode covers segregation and how people were initially hostile to Robinson playing in the major leagues. And the Frederick Douglass episode touches lightly on the harsh practice of slavery. Of course, this show's main age demographic is preschool to early elementary, so the writers need to be careful of what they put in order to maintain viewer attention and parental trust.
In March of 2020, PBS Kids aired an hour-long movie of the series entitled I Am Madam President. Seeing Udina, learn what it takes to do what has never been done before, namely, that she wants to be the first female president of the United States. The film sees her, Xavier, and Brad meet 4 female trailblazers, Amelia Earhart, Jackie Joyner-Kersee, Junko Tabei, and Sally Ride, and see that you can do anything you set your mind to as long as you are prepared, go step by step, never give up, and work hard.
It's a pretty good special, and I think the artists had a little too much fun with the promotional posters. Anyhow, this special also sheds a little light on why the Secret Museum exists in the first place. I encourage you to watch the special to find out for yourselves. And actually, I wonder, how would they have written the special if the 2016 election turned out differently? Well, no better time to use my what-if contraption, so let's put it in and... Actually, not too much changed, except Olive Garden actually serves good food now.
So, how does Xavier Riddle rank among other shows on PBS Kids?
Looking at other history-based PBS Kids programming, Where in Time with Carmen Sandiego taught history lessons in a game show format, and Liberty's Kids showed events of the American Revolution through the eyes of children. Xavier Riddle seems to be a manifestation of the quote, "Those who fail to learn from the past are doomed to repeat it." What I mean is that the past can teach us many important lessons to implement for the future, whether it be lessons of resourcefulness, perseverance, or sheer determination. And whether we wish to ignore the past as much as ever we can, it is undeniable that people who lived years and years ago helped to pave the way for our modern world. And of course, they all started out as children with dreams and bright ideas. Although Xavier Riddle and the Secret Museum fails to convey some more of the harsher aspects of history, it is still a pretty good educational series, and I highly recommend it to parents and caregivers wanting to find something for their children to watch. Well, new season calls for a new round of the PBS Member Station Spotlight and a new round of drawing names out of the Pretty Straw Hat. So let's see what we have here. And we're going down to Kansas. Going down to Kansas with Pioneer Public Television.
Pioneer PBS originally started out as KWCM-TV in Appleton, Minnesota. The station was established in 1966 and primarily aired broadcasts from KCTA St. Paul, Minneapolis. In 1970, the station joined the Public Broadcasting Service and began airing its own programs. In 1982, the KWCM rebranded itself as Pioneer Public Television and added sister station KSMN in 1997 to give a broader reach to television markets in South Dakota, Iowa, and North Dakota. In 2009, Pioneer Public Television moved to a full digital broadcast and rebranded to Pioneer PBS in 2019. Programming produced by Pioneer PBS includes Postcards, Prairie Sportsman, and Country Spires, along with Prairie Yard and Garden, Academic Challenge, and Minnesota Rivers and Fields in collaboration with the University of Minnesota Morris. Today, Pioneer PBS has a market of nearly 4.8 million people across Minnesota, Iowa, and the Dakotas. If you're in western Minnesota, you can tune in to Pioneer PBS on these following stations, with Create on the .2 channel, Minnesota Channel on the .3 channel, World on the .4 channel, and PBS Kids on the .5 channel.
Well, once again, thank you to everybody for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have, feel free to like, subscribe, and share, ring the bell, follow on Twitter, and also don't forget to support your local PBS stations. Some more programming related to Xavier Riddle and the Secret Museum can find its way to your home television screens. So, until next time, I'm Captain Rutlidge. Good day.
What does it say?
You're it?